The President, please be seated. The court is now in session. In today's hearing, parties will continue to present documents before the chamber. Namely, the document relevant to the structure and communication of the democratic Cambodia. And yesterday, the floor was taken by the civil party lead co-lawyers, and the civil party lead co-lawyers still have another hour to finish the presentation of the documents. But before I hand over to the lead co-lawyers, I would like to ask Greffier Sakolvati to report the attendance of parties. Sakolvati. Good morning, Mr. President. All parties are present except Mr. Ieng Sari due to his health reason. However, due to his application E237, the accused has waived his right to be present directly in attending the hearing of certain witnesses, TCCP 169, that the chamber is scheduled to hear him today. Mr. Michael Canavas, the international counsel for Mr. Ieng Sari, is not present due to his busy schedule. As for TCCP 169, will be in the waiting room at 10:30 this morning. The President, thank you. I note the defense counsel is on his feet. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. Just with respect to that last announcement, will we be moving into witness testimony this afternoon, if time permits? Excuse me, civil party testimony?
The President, the chamber has determined the date for the prosecution and civil parties to put the documents before the chamber for 2 days, and we also allocate the time to the defense teams for 2 days as well. So the chambers will abide by its decision in relation to the scheduling of the hearing of the document presentation by parties. We will continue hearing this presentation in relation to the documents concerning the communication of the democratic Cambodia. However, the chamber today has reserved one civil party in order to continue the proceeding and to expedite the proceedings before us in case where the defense teams decide not to present any evidentiary documents before the chamber. And the civil party that the chamber has summoned to testify is a reserve civil party that is in the preparation in case we do not have any other matters. We will have to make use of that opportunity to hear this testimony of the civil party.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's exactly what I wanted to know. Thank you.
The President. Now I hand over to the lead co-lawyer for the civil parties. You may proceed. National lead co-lawyer, Bích Ong. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. And good morning to all parties and member of the public. My name is Bích Ong. I am the national lead co-lawyer for the civil party. The civil party lead co-lawyer section will wrap up our presentation within an hour this morning. And yesterday, I presented a number of documents, including the video clips of Mr. Nguyen Chia and Mr. Kieu Sampon. And this morning, I will continue on from where I left off yesterday concerning the video clips of Mr. Kieu Sampon. And once again, I would like to refer to the video number E109/2.3R. This video clip depicts the second episode of the video, and I have already given it to the AV booth, so I would like to seek permission from the chamber to have it play for the chamber as well as the members of the public. The President, you may proceed. AV assistant, you is instructed to play this video clip as per the request by the lead co-lawyer for the civil parties. I respected the discipline. I respected a discipline in the sense that I wasn't working in the fields or building dams with my comrades. I simply stay out of the way so that I did not disrupt them. That was my spirit. And I was accused of not trying to know or understand anything. But firstly, how could I imagine this? It was a nationalist movement, so I trusted from my heart. Secondly, because I was thinking that I could contribute in part if I could not work in the field like my compatriots. So I tried to live modestly. I did not want to be perceived that my countrymen worked hard in the field and they had to endure a lot of difficulties, and I was living in Phnom Penh. I enjoyed my life and I had a lot of foods to eat on myself. So both my wife and I was the head of the state, and my wife was a cook. She cooked, and I was not resented with that because I did not work as hard as my countrymen in the field, and my wife did not work that hard either. So I have no reason to complain because I was fine myself in Phnom Penh. Our family, I met my family together, even if my children were in the children's center. They came home to visit us every week. They were in a better and privileged situation than those who work hard in the field. So I had nothing to complain about my life. Councillor Bích Ong, I would like to mention that this video starts from minute 30 seconds to 28 minutes and 20 seconds. And this video depicts the situation of the victims in the cooperatives. Next, I would like to seek leave from Mr. President to present the statute of the Communist Party of Cambodia, portion of the statute starting from Article 8, rather Article 7 concerning the party organizational line, from the center to the base. With your leave, Mr. President, I would like it to be displayed on the screens, and this it's document IS 9.1. The President, you may proceed. Council Pijong. I would like to start from Article 7, since I have already mentioned the title of the document. And instead of reading the relevant ERNs, I go to the article immediately. Article 7, Party Organizational Lines. The party organizational lines are as follows. 1. The party organization which has the highest power rights throughout the country is the General Conference representing the entire country. During the period of time between one General Conference to another, the highest operational unit throughout the country is the Central Committee. 2. The organization which has the highest power rights in each zone is the Zone Representational Conference. During the time from one conference to another, the highest operational organization for each individual zone is the Zone Committee. 3. The organization which has the highest power rights in each sector or city is the Sector or the City Representational Conference. During the time between one sector or city conference to another, the highest operational organization for that sector or city is the Sector or City Committee. 4. The organization which has the highest power rights in each district is Conference representing the district. During the time period from one district conference to another, the operational organization for each individual district is the District Committee. 5. The organization which has the highest power rights from a branch is the Branch Representational Conference. For large branches or the branch conference for the entire of the branches for small branches. During the time period between branch conferences, the operational organization for each branch is the Branch Committee. For large branches, or the Secretary or Deputy Secretary for small branches. 6. Party organizations in the Revolutionary Army of Cambodia have similar organizations according to each party echelon framework. Article 8. Any sector or unit which has special characteristics, be they political, military, economic, or cultural social affairs related, may be organized separately, with the Central Committee being responsible, directly or indirectly, along a specific organizational line. Article 9. If each revolutionary cooperative, factory, military, company-level unit, worksite, and the ministry office may organize a party branch provided there are 3 or more party members. Branches which have from 3 to 8 party members must select a secretary or deputy secretary to lead routine work. Branches with 9 or more party members must select a branch committee to lead. If necessary for the work, a sub-branch may be organized. Article 10. The task of a branch. A branch has 2 tasks. 1. Task among the popular masses. Proselytize the popular masses with specific plans and programs in its area, in the unions and cooperatives, and in the Revolutionary Army regarding political lines, ideological principles and stances, and organizational lines according to the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia in the party stance of class struggle of socialist revolution and in building socialism. Along with this, a branch must grasp and agitate popular mass organizations at each side in the unions and the cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army to carry out revolutionary activities strongly in accordance with the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia in the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 2. Internal task, that is, A. Closely re-educate and build party members and core organization politically, ideologically, and organizationally according to the task of national defense and constructing democratic Cambodia with the party stance of class struggle or socialist revolution and building socialism. B. Closely grasp organization in the strengthening and expanding of the screening of party members and core organization. Clearly, deeply, and closely arrange the tasking of party members and core organization to work among the popular masses, the worker peasants in the unions and cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army in order to agitate the revolutionary movement to be constantly hot according to the party political lines of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia in the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. Implement a regular and detailed branch life once monthly. Manage branch property and administer branch discipline, maintaining systems of reporting to upper echelon to the situation of the work of the branch, etc. I would like to skip one article and move to Article 12. The District Committee. District Committee must hold an ordinary district representation conference once every 6 months in order to 1. Clearly and profoundly examine and deliberate on district activities by drawing experience, seeking out good and bad qualities. 2. Designate new work according to the party line, must designate clear plans for work among popular masses and for internal party work within its district framework. 3. Select and appoint the new leadership organization and the district committee based on the 10 criteria of the party and with the prior examination, deliberation, and agreement of the sector committee and zone committee. Article 13. Task of the district committee. The tasks of the district committee are 1. Go down close to the branches, down to the specific basis of branches in the unions and cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army in order to lead the implementation of tasks both among the popular masses and internally, to be always hot and active in plans according to the political lines of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia and according to the party's direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 2. Constantly and tightly grasp the popular masses in the unions and cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army within its district framework politically, ideologically, and organizationally by constantly arming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally in the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia according to the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 3. Constantly and tightly grasp the branches, cadres, and party members along with all the core organization of the district in regards to the personal history, politically, ideologically, organizationally, by arming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally. 4. Manage the property of the district organization and administer discipline in the district framework, maintaining the system of reporting to the upper echelon. Article 4. The district committee. 14. A district committee must hold ordinary meeting once monthly to examine, monitor, and deliberate on old work and to bring up new work. Article 15. Sector City Committee must hold ordinary sector city representational conferences once every 6 months in order to 1. Clearly and profoundly examine and deliberate the sector city activities by drawing experience, seeking out good and bad qualities. 2. Designate new work according to the party line, must designate clear plans for work among popular masses and for the internal party work within its sector. And 3. Select and appoint a new leadership organization, the Sector City Committee, based on the 10 criteria of the parties and with the prior examination, deliberation, and agreement of the Zone Committee. Article 16. Task of the Sector City Committee. Task of the Sector City Committee are 1. Go down close to the district and branches and the specific basis of the branches of in the unions and cooperatives in the Revolutionary Army in order to lead the implementation of tasks, both among the popular masses and internally, to be always hot and active in plans according to the political lines of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia, and according to the party's direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 2. Constantly and tightly grasp the popular masses in the unions and cooperatives in the Revolutionary Army within its sector, city framework, politically, ideologically, and organizationally by constantly aiming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally in the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia according to the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 3. Constantly and tightly grasp the district organization, branch organization, the cadres, the party members, along with all the core organization of the sector in regards to personal histories, politically, ideologically, and organizationally by arming them with politically, ideologically, and organizationally in the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia. 4. Manage the property of the sector city organizations and administer discipline in the sector city framework. Article 17. The sector city committee must hold ordinary meetings once every monthly to examine, monitors, and deliberate on old work and to bring up new work. Zone Committee. Article 18. The Zone Committee must hold an ordinary zone representational conference once each year in order to 1. Clearly and profoundly examine and deliberate on zone activities by drawing experience, seeking out good and bad qualities. 2. Designate new work according to the party line, must designate clear plans for work among the popular masses and for the internal party work within its zone framework. 3. Select and appoint a new leadership organization, the Zone Committee, based on the 10 criteria of the party and with the prior examination, deliberation, and agreement of the Central Committee. Article 19. The task of the Zone Committee. The task of the Zone Committee are 1. Go down close to the sectors, districts, branches, and the specific basis of the branches in the unions and cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army in order to lead the implementation of tasks, both among the popular masses and internally, to be always hot and active in plans according to the political lines of the national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia and according to the party's direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 2. Constantly and tightly grasp the popular masses in the unions and cooperatives and in the Revolutionary Army within its zone politically, ideologically, and organizationally by constantly arming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally in the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia according to the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 3. Constantly and tightly grasp all the sectors, all the district parties, all the branches, all the cadres and party members, along with all the core organization of the zone in regards to personal histories, politically, ideologically, and organizationally by arming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally in the task of national defense and the construction of democratic Cambodia according to the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 4. Manage the property of zone organizations and administer discipline in the zone framework, maintaining a system of reporting to the Central Committee on the situation and the work of the zone. Article 20. The Zone Committee must hold ordinary meetings once every 3 months to examine, monitor, and deliberate on old work and to bring up new work. The Central Committee, Article 21. The Central Committee must call an ordinary general conference representing the entire country once every 4 years in order to 1. Clearly and profoundly examine and deliberate on the old Central Committee activities by drawing past experience of right and wrong regarding politics, ideology, and organization, as well as all important work. 2. Designate the political line and statute of the party. 3. Select and appoint the new Central Committee based on the 10 criteria of the party. Article 22. A general conference may be held before the designated time or can be postponed according to the specific situation. The number of full rights representatives who must be invited to participate in a general conference representing the entire country will be designated by the Central Committee. Article 23. The task of the Central Committee. The tasks of the Central Committee are 1. Implement the party political line and statute throughout the party. 2. Instruct all zones and sector city organizations and party organizations responsible for various matters to carry out activities according to the political line and the ideological and organizational disciplines and stances in accordance with the task of national defense and building democratic Cambodia and in accordance with the party direction of socialist revolution and building socialism. 3. Govern and arrange cadres and party members throughout the entire party, along with all core organizations, by constantly, clearly, and closely grasping personal history, political, ideological, and organizational stances, and closely and constantly arming them politically, ideologically, and organizationally. And 4. Act in the names of the party in contacts with all brother, sister, Marxist-Leninist parties. I would like to end my quote of the Communist Party of Cambodia. I would like to refer to another document in relation to the book written by Khieu Samphan entitled Cambodia's Recent History and the Reasons Behind the Decision I Made. I do not have the document numbers with me. My apology for that. Document number E4.23. And I would like to read one sentence of the excerpts. ERN in Khmer 0010 3883. ERN in English 0010 3785. In French 0059 54 and 97. So I would like now to read from the excerpt. The President, you may proceed. I would like to quote the book written by Mr. Khieu Samphan as the following. However, if there's a thorough investigation, we can find the Central Committee of the CPK cannot be compared to the Central Committee of other party who was known in the world. As
I wrote in my open letter dated 16th of August 2001. This organization was not the anchor of the leadership of the party. It was just the place where cadre can be trained ideologically, politically, especially to educate the secretary and the committee of the party who were responsible for zone, sector, and army, so that they can learn well on political decision on behalf of the standing committee, end of quote. I am now finishing my presentation of documents, so I would like to request that the court allow my co-counsel to continue. Counsel, you may proceed, said the President.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, everyone. I will complete the presentation by the civil party lead co-lawyers. A lot of documents have already been presented to the Chamber and to the public. And as I said, I will restrict myself to 11 documents. That is a very small number of documents. I would limit myself solely to the central structure as mentioned in the closing order. And to start this presentation, I would like to refer to statements made by Kyo Sampan and Nuon Chea. A few years after the end of the regime in 2006 and 2007, journalists took statements from them. I will quote these documents. These statements express Nuon Chea's and Kyo Sampan's vision of the central structure and their role within that central structure. The first document has the number E3/122. It is a series of notes taken by Mr. Ian Mentry and Lian Sopiak during their interviews of Kyo Sampan and Nuon Chea on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of June 2006. And beginning with Mr. Kyo Sampan, this is what he stated in this document E3/122. The ERN in French is 00613201, and the ERN in Khmer is 00347033, and the ERN in English is 00000926. And this is what he states, and I quote, "Everyone made so many errors. No one is perfect. We have to learn from our mistakes, then move to make a change. I also committed mistakes during my time in power." In the same document, and the ERN in French is 00613204. ERN in Khmer 00347037, and the ERN in English 00000929. Mr. Kyo Sampan responds to the following question: who were precisely members of the Central Committee? There were 8 persons. Members of the committee met to take specific decisions before referring them to the members of the Central Committee, who came from every region and zone throughout the country. I was a member of the Central Committee, but I did not have I did not have control over any zone. The Standing Committee members include Pol Pot's Secretary, Nuon Chia Deputy Secretary, Ieng Sari, Son Sen, Tamok, Von Vet, and Sao Pim. In the same document, and the ERN.
Counsel, hold on. Now, the defense counsel is on his feet. The counsel, you may proceed.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am counsel for Mr. Kyo Sampan. I would like to state at this juncture that we challenge these documents, which are notes that were purportedly taken by a so-called journalist. We do not have any audio recording of that interview. We have already made objections, and I would comment by saying that I viewed this reading of the notes without any possible objection as going beyond the limits. I think we should do without them, Mr. President. That is what I wanted to state. May I respond, Mr. President, with your leave? Let me point out that this document has already been tendered into evidence and admitted. It has number E3/122. May I also point out that Mr. Kyo Sampan may, as an accused person, comment on these documents, but if I read the instructions of the chamber correctly, counsel for Kyo Sampan is not allowed to make comments at this point, and I see no point. I think Mr. Kyo Sampan should be allowed to comment on these notes, and the chamber will assess the probative value of these documents subsequently.
The President, the objection by the defense counsel for Mr. Kyo Sampan was not well founded. The document has been indicated as E3, so the party can present before the chamber as the evidence in the proceeding for presentation of document before the chamber. And in the case of probative value or the weight of the evidence, the trial chamber will consider this evidence when it make the decision in the judgment. And the defense counsel for Kyo Sampan should not be on your feet to object the presentation of the document by the other party. And in fact, the defense counsel and Mr. Kyo Sampan have the right to make remark under the ruling by the trial chamber this week. And the defense counsel for Mr. Kyo Sampan said that his client will be remain silent, but again, the client can make remark after the presentation of the documents by the party. The President, Counsel for Mr. Nuon Chea, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize. I seem to have lost a button on my gown. I would just like clarification of what you've just said. Is the Chamber's position that counsel may not object to anything that's said here unless our clients submit to questioning or comment on documents? Is that what you've just said? Because, again, it wasn't clear to me.
The President, the opportunity to present the document, you have the right to make remark or a response into the presentation of the other party. The trial chamber reminds this right for the defense counsels on the 10th of October 2012. The trial chamber is insists of your request on this matter, but it seems that you failed to listen to the proceedings on the 10th of October 2012 on the reminding of the right of the accused to make the remark or comment on the document presented by the other parties. So you should have looked at the transcript of the hearing of 10 October 2012 before the trial chamber gave the floor to the prosecutor to present their documents. I think in those rulings, the reminding have complete content for your understanding.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, it seems to be me who wasn't clear. I understand that the accused will be given an opportunity to make comments on documents if they so choose. My question this morning was, I apologize for grasping my neck like this. My question this morning was, will counsel on this side of the stage be forbidden from raising objections, as my colleague just tried to do, unless our clients avail themselves of that opportunity? That's the way I understood your ruling. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Is my question clear? That's how I understood your ruling, Mr. President. That's why I'm on my feet.
The President, the Defense Counsel for Mr. Nunchia, please stand up. The trial chamber reminds you that the Defense Counsel, including the defense team, has the right to make comment or to make objection to the documents presented by the other parties before the trial chamber. However, you should not address the court at this time. You should wait until the other party has completed their presentation, and you should wait until your turn comes so that you can make your comment, including the accused. He can make comments. In our experience, during our address to the court, and we asked the accused, but there's no reaction from the defense team in relation to the right to remain silent of your client. That is why in the proceedings we instructed that in the case the defense team wish to make any contest or complaint, you can be on your feet to make the comment on the presentation by the other party. So both sides can do so. And on the other hand, the defense team, when you present your documents, the other party may have the right to make comment, but not during the presentation of the parties of document. And today you may have the floor to present your documents or evidence in defense of your client under the law, and you may respond or comment to the document presented by the other parties.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will try to press on with my presentation of documents. We're talking of document E3/122. The ERN is 00613205 in French and 00347039 in Khmer, 00000929 and 0930 in English. Mr. Kir Sampan states the following: I acknowledge that at the time we made many errors, but at the same time we also did many good things for our country. In this regard, to be correct, we should talk both good and bad of that regime. Stop talking about killings, which is only one side of the coin. If you want your country to gain independence and freedom, you have to sacrifice something for your country. People should not have so much freedom. Political leaders have to practice radical policy. If we did not proceed in that manner, we would have been dependent on the Vietnamese in all areas and in all matters. End of quotes. In the same document, it is Mr. Nunchia who is then interviewed, and he states the following. The ERN in French is 00613208, Khmer 00347042-43, English 00000932. This is what Mr. Nunchia states. When I was in power, politics was good, but comrades and our civil servants were not good. We did not have good bridges to convey our good policies to the people, and that is the reason why we failed, and that is the reason why we did not attain our objectives. End of quote. The following question was posed: what measures did you take against comrades who are not good? Response: I educated them, I corrected them. That was an extremely difficult task. Question: what did you do precisely? I educated them and I corrected them. I did not allow them to continue carrying out their duties. And further down in the same document, the ERN in French is 00613210, Khmer 00347046, and in English 00000933. Mr. Nunchia says the following: in the final analysis, my plans failed, which led to the weakening of my regime. Ultimately, I had to capitulate. End of quote. Let me now present a second document, and it is the transcript of an interview of Mr. Kyo Sampan by the Voice of America on the 14th of November 2007, and the number is E3/204. In this transcript of a radio interview, Mr. Kyo Sampan states the following, and the French ERN is 00656178, Khmer 00424211, and in English it is 00680033. And I quote, well, regarding work, that is what happened before, and as time went on, since 1975, Mr. Ieng Sary has been in charge of foreign affairs in democratic Cambodia, and his responsibilities with regard to foreign affairs, he also discharged those functions in the party and the state. I, for my part, was chairman of the state presidium and worked in office 870. As you can see, in that office 870, my role was very specific. And on the following page, ERN 00656179 in French, in Khmer 00424212, and in English 00680034. Mr. Kyo Sampan adds, and I quote, in this regard, I would like to tell you something. I have already told you, haven't I, that Mr. Ieng Sary was in charge of foreign affairs. As for me, I was in charge of my duties. As I pointed out earlier, I was officially head of state. However, my complete and daily duties were carried out in Office 870. Now, regarding Office 870, as I pointed out to you, I pointed out what the principles were, didn't I? End of quote. I would now like to present a number of documents that have to do with the position of certain intellectuals and diplomats who were members of the structure prior to the 17th of April 1975. And while examining these documents, I would like to see what became of those persons in the structures following the 17th of April 1975. I am referring to a document, D22/289. It is a civil party application by Mr. Cho Kim. I will not read out an excerpt of this statement by a civil party. By the way, I waived voluntarily my right
The President, Defense Counsel for Mr. Ieng Sary, you may proceed. Venerable monks, Mr. President, Your Honors, the prosecutors, and colleagues, I would like to come back to a number of points I addressed the court yesterday A while ago, the President just made a ruling. All documents indicated as E3 can be used or read before the court, and there should be no objection. But the documents listed in the lead co-lawyers for civil party, but those documents bear no E3 document. So based on this ruling, this document cannot be read. Number two, the President has just indicated that the defense teams can make objection after the party have completed their reading. But my request yesterday was request that not allow the party to read. So if the document has been read, the reading has been completed. So how can we make our objection? Because those document has been read. Can we remove all the sound from the system because it was read and they were been heard? The President, the chamber have decided and make a ruling on your request yesterday. So the trial chamber will not consider your request as a second time. And the lead co-lawyer for the civil party can proceed with her presentation of the document based on the ruling yesterday by the trial chamber. Counsel, you may proceed.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I'm on my feet.
You are not granted leave to proceed with your objection, and I would now give the floor to the lead co-lawyer for the civil party. You may continue.
Am I not granted?
The President, you may not proceed. You're not allowed to proceed. Lead co-lawyer, you may proceed. This issue was ruled upon by the chamber yesterday, and this is not subject to be discussed now.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I shall attempt to continue. I was dealing with D22/289. It has not yet been attributed an E number. This is indeed a civil party application. Once again, I will not be reading any passages from this application. Yesterday I had withdrawn the written record of witness interview of the elder brother of Mr. Chao Seng, as I indicated yesterday. I wish also to present D22/289.21. This is an annex of an interview with the brother of Mr. Chao Seng. I submit this document only to indicate that it contains an interview of Mr. Chao Seng with the newspaper L'Humanité. It is a communist French publication. He speaks on behalf of the United Front of Cambodia. He speaks as a representative of the FUNC office. I move on to an additional annex, which is attached to a civil party application.
The President, is there any issue, Defense Counsel? The President, please activate your mic. Counsel Kung Suman. The document being presented by the lead co-lawyer now is in French. I was wondering whether or not the Khmer version of the document is available. If so, please have it projected on the screen. The President, lead co-lawyer, please advise the chamber and parties whether or not the documents are available in at least 2 languages.
The civil parties have made a request for translation of all civil party applications and their attachments. They have been submitted to the ITU. Now, for reasons that are entirely understandable and stemming from the availability of resources, this particular document is only available for the time being in French. This is exactly why I shall not be reading into the record any quotes or passages from these documents so long as the translations are not yet available.
The President, lead co-lawyer, you may continue.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur.
Thank you indeed, Mr. President. I wish now to move on to D22/289.1. French ERN numbers are 00481462 to 00481463. English ERNs are 00806052. ERN in Khmer 00797532 to 33. This is a letter that Mr. Chao Seng wrote to his wife in December 1975. It was a letter sent from Peking. He writes, "My beloved wife, after a much-needed siesta, in view of the incorrect schedules in France, we went to welcome the first group of Cambodians, approximately 40 persons, who are due to return to Phnom Penh along with us. The conference shall last until the end of the month. Ambassadors shall be returning to their posts and we will get a better view of the situation. Maintain your revolutionary optimism. Remain positive, because you will see that everything will be fine."
President, there is no translation because you seems to speak too fast, and I would like to ask you to repeat what you have just said, at least in the last few sentences.
Bien sûr, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, of course, Mr. President. I shall repeat the middle paragraph of the letter. This gentleman writes, "The conference shall last until the end of the month. Ambassadors are expected to return to their stations, and we will have a better picture then." He writes further on in the letter, on the same Iran pages that I identified, "Always carry the spirit of revolutionary optimism. It takes care of many things. You must be optimistic and positive, because as you will see, everything will be fine for us and for everyone." I wish now to present a document that is classified under D22/289.14. This document is a partial list of Cambodians who were repatriated from foreign countries and sent back to democratic Kampuchea between 1975 and 1976. This is only a partial list. That was compiled by the Documentation Center of Cambodia. I simply want to make mention of this document and inform you that it is comprised of some 232 names. I see that my esteemed colleague is on his feet. Councillor Verken, yes, very quickly, Mr. President, I do not see the link between the subject of the current hearing and the presentation of the documents that are being presented by my learned friend. Perhaps she can elucidate this chamber and tell us exactly how these documents are related to the framework that you have defined as the subject of this hearing. Councillor Simoneau-Faure, as I stated earlier, these are directly relevant to the central structures and pertain to those who worked within the structures before 1975 as well as after April 1975. These individuals had resided at Bung Trabek, which is an area covered by the closing order and which is part of the structure that we are concerned with. May I please continue, Mr. President? Councillor Verken, not only are we uncertain as to whether or not these individuals worked within the administration, but as far as I'm concerned, my learned friend is seeking to satiate some unknown desire to achieve something else, and that is lost on me. I don't understand the relevance of the lists that have just been quoted or the documents that are purportedly relevant to administrative structures. I simply do not understand my learned colleague's explanations.
The President. The International Lead Co-Lawyer, you may continue your presentation.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Document.
Thank you very much, President. I wish now to refer to Mr. Uk Ket, who served as an ambassador prior to 1975 and who returned to democratic Kampuchea following 1975. Now, without quoting any passages, I would simply refer to the civil party statement of his wife, classified under D22/44. Once again, I will not be seeking the submission of the civil or the written record of witness interview. But I would simply point out that D22/44.11 contains a letter from the Khmer Embassy in Beijing requesting Mr. Uket to come back. The ERN French numbers are 0033 8993. ERN in Khmer are 0028 1227. In English, they are 0032 65 64. This is a letter addressed to a certain number of ambassadors in 1977. It reads as follows: to the beloved comrade in charge of the Embassy of Democratic Kampuchea in Senegal, in accordance with the instructions from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Democratic Kampuchea, I wish to provide you the following information. The ministry has decided that Comrade must return to the country. You must prepare your travel upon receipt of this letter. 2. As for Comrade's wife, request that she wait for you. You may have her stay with her parents. 3. As for the embassy premises, we have requested the Chinese embassy to assist in maintaining and supervising the property for us. Comrade requests further to inform the Chinese embassy. 4. The government invites you back to the country for education and study in order to achieve tasks. I now refer to D22/44.13. This is also listed under Annex 13. It is a list of prisoners who were executed on the 9th of December 1977. The French ERN numbers are 00339169. French, or rather Khmer ERN numbers are 00281230. ERN in English are 00328268. We find Mr. Ouket's name under listing 33. To conclude this subject, I also wish to refer to D22/289.17. This is a list of Cambodian nationals living abroad and who were executed at To Sling between April 1975 to January 1979. It is attached to the civil party application. And is also contained in the book of Mr. Ong Tong-un. I shall conclude this presentation of documents with the final document, E3/200. This document was referred to by Madam Prosecutor yesterday. It is a transcript of a speech delivered by Mr. Khieu Samphan during a commemorative meeting to celebrate the capture of Phnom Penh by the Khmer Rouge. I shall end my presentation of documents by quoting Mr. Khieu Samphan, who speaks in his capacity as president of the State Presidium of Democratic Cambodia, and he talks about the previous years. The passage can be found on French ERN pages 00, 61, 21, 65. On Khmer page 00, 29, 28, 04. And on English ERN page S00004164. Mr. Khieu Samphan states the following.
De tout poil, nos travailleurs, nos paysans et notre armée révolutionnaire sont devenus les maîtres incontestables de notre pays et de notre administration. Au cours des 2 dernières années, sous la direction correcte et clairvoyante de notre organisation révolutionnaire, nos travailleurs, nos paysans et notre armée révolutionnaire ont réalisé de nombreux autres exploits.
Excuse me, we're not getting the translation, Mr. President. We're not getting the English translation. I apologize for interrupting.
The President, court officer, is instructed to contact the interpretation booth.
សូមអញ្ជើញបន្តលោកត្រីមេធាវីបាទសូមឲ្យយឺត
Counsel, you may proceed, but you are reminded to slow down a bit because when you are reading from the written materials, the interpreters have to locate the document.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, je présente mes excuses pour...
Yes, of course, Mr. President, I convey my apologies. Today, after having driven out all American imperialists and their lackeys, our workers, our peasants, and our revolutionary army have become the indisputable masters of our country and administration. During the past 2 years, under the correct and clear-sighted leadership of our revolutionary organization, our workers, peasants, and revolutionary army have scored many other great achievements, especially those which clearly attest to our great capability, both in the fields of defending our country and administration, and in the domain of comprehensive national rehabilitation and reconstruction based on the principles of independence and self-reliance. On the following page, Mr. Kyo-Sompan talks about enemies. However, I will not repeat that particular passage that was already presented by the prosecutor. That, Mr. President, brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. I thank you.
The President, thank you. The time is now appropriate for an adjournment. We will adjourn now until 10 to 11.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រោកឈរ